Welcome back to the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. This is episode 133. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. What's going on, Troy? I'm a mess. This is a total gong show.
Boy, right away. Slur, that's me that usually messes up my words. My first sentence. You had a long day today. Lots of driving.
It's been a day. That is for sure. I'm in Windsor, Canada, on my way to Hockey Card Heaven and the Fall Toronto Sport Card Expo. It is 8:30 p.m., so not too late, but honestly, Troy, it feels like 4 in the morning.
Especially if I asked you what time you left before we got on. You said 4 a.m. Yeah, that can do it to you. Did you hit a Timmy's yet?
I didn't even have time.
Oh.
So I drove like really fast, and then we had to record, got everything kind of lugged in to my hotel room. Then I've been doing this thing to try to be a little healthier. So I started doing I'm challenging myself to walk at least 10,000 steps a day for an entire year. And I started May 31st. Normally, it's not a huge deal. I just go take the puppy for a couple walks a day, and it's no problem. It is a problem, though, when you drive 650 miles and spend all day in a car. And so I was scurrying around wherever I am in Windsor, Canada this evening, trying to get my steps in. And believe it or not, I walked for like an hour, and I didn't come across a Tim Hortons. Is that like illegal? How does that happen?
Yeah, that doesn't seem right. I don't know if you're in Canada.
I might not be in Canada.
You might still in the U.S. or something. You did cross a border, right? You did do a border.
Oh yeah, I did all that stuff.
Did they confiscate my luggage? Because I just sent all my stuff with Josh. Since I'm going to fly out Friday morning, I'm like, here, take my stuff. But
they asked me if I had drugs, and I said no. But this guy put a suitcase full of cocaine in my car last night. Is that a problem?
You can leave my stuff in your car. It is nothing that I care gets stolen. It's all clothes and top loaders, basically. It's what I brought.
Oh, I lugged it up to the room. Yeah, so it has been a day plus so far. I'm gonna, hey, if hockey players can like get their face broken and play a game, I can do a podcast a little bit tired, but you might have to bring the heat by the end of the show, Troy.
All right, let's do it. Or just fly through this so you can go to bed.
No. Yeah, there we go. Then I got to drive. I forget how far Windsor is from Toronto. It's like 4 hours, something like that. I don't know.
I'll look it up.
We'll figure that out tomorrow. Speaking of the expo, be sure to tune in on Monday as we're going to do our expo recap episode. It's a little bit different than our traditional episodes. Right before we leave Toronto to come back home from the show, we kind of just get on for an hour and a half or whatever and freeform our experience at the expo. I think it's kind of fun because it's a little, like I said, it's a little bit different from what we normally do. And so if you're curious to get our impressions of the expo, maybe how it's different this time from either last spring or last fall, we're going to have a special guest, friend of the show, Irish Flyer collector Neil. It's going to be his first time this weekend at the expo, so we'll get his kind of instant reaction to that. And so I'm definitely looking forward to that, and hopefully you guys are too. And then last thing before we get started, because we do have a lot of stuff to get into today, just a reminder, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a Patreon podcast. That means we rely on really the support of listeners like yourself or watchers, if you're on YouTube, to help us cover our show expenses, keep our show going, and produce more and hopefully better hockey card content, and help us fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey card hobby. If you go to Patreon, you can join our out of $199 support level tier, be one of the first 199 supporters of our show, forever hold that title. You get access to the Hockey Cards Gong Show Discord server. It's $5 a month, so hopefully not a huge investment there. And then just become a part of our community. It grows almost every week, and so we're really grateful for everyone that supported us. Super easy to do. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page, or you could go to the Patreon website directly at patreon.com and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. You can go to the link that's in the description of the podcast, or in the podcast app you're listening to us on, or in our YouTube description. Holy cow, Troy. Like I'm on a different planet right now. This is gonna be a gong show. Or finally, there's a link to our Patreon and our link tree, which is in our TikTok and Instagram profiles. All right, Troy, let's get this rodeo. This show.
Goat rodeo. All right. On today's show, we begin with the almost greatest player to wear number 33. Then it's off to our next installment of Rookie Deep Dive. And let's all see if Josh will make it through or what will happen with him. Because he's got a lot of info. We then tackle hobby news, followed by a segment on looking at some players and seeing if it is time to hit the hobby panic button on them. Now, Josh, I do not have a hobby panic button. Do you have one I can use? It's like the staple
It's going to be the metaphorical or proverbial hobby panic button. So
I need
don't
one.
worry.
We then look at new product releases and look at some of our favorite hockey cards in the current PWCC Weekly Auction. We end the show with personal pickups. Maybe. I have no clue. I don't know what Josh
we got to
has.
get like a button bar that don't they make those that you can
you can get them.
Okay.
Well, that's fancy. That's fancy and technical
fancy
stuff.
Production. Yeah, we're all about that, Troy.
All right, Josh. Previously, we looked at the greatest NHL player to wear each number that matched our episode number. We used the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL players to wear each number article. For our second go-through, I'm selecting one of the runners-up and dubbing that player the almost greatest NHL player to wear the number that matches our episode number. We are on episode number 133. So I will select the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 3. And Josh, drumroll please, the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 33, per the nominees in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article, and selected by me, is this guy, Zdeno Chara. Additional
big dude. I think that got longer, Troy. I think it was shorter the first time.
I think I read it faster though. Okay, I didn't. You know what? I failed. I didn't take out a couple words.
And you said drummer. I think you said drum in your effort to be expedient. I think you said drum roll peas.
Yeah.
Was that like a new kind of like sugar snap peas or other type of peas?
Yeah. Well, I added words like a dummy. Okay. All right. Additional nominees at number 33 were Henrik Sedin and Big Buff, Dustin Byfuglien. As a reminder, the greatest story number 33 was Patrick Waugh.
I don't think there's any controversy there.
No. I think it's crazy that I see something with Henrik Sedin and not immediately his brother also, Daniel Sedin. Yeah. Can't have the same number, I guess. But those two are like intertwined. It's kind of freaky. All right, let's look at Chara. Defenseman from Trenčín, Czechoslovakia, or that's where he was born. Chara was the 56th overall pick in the 1996 NHL entry draft by the New York Islanders. Chara played in 1,680 regular season NHL games over a 24-season NHL career. His 1,680 games played is 7th all-time in NHL history and 1st all-time for a defenseman. This is crazy. My notes say Sittler began his career. Wow, that was a while ago. I must have copied that from a while ago. Chara began his career playing 4 seasons with the New York Islanders. He then played 4 seasons with the Ottawa Senators. Next, he played 14 seasons with the Boston Bruins. He ended his career playing 1 season with the Washington Capitals and then 1 season back with the New York Islanders. For his awards and accomplishments, he's a 1-time Stanley Cup winner, 1-time Norris winner, 1-time Mark Messier Award winner, 3-time NHL First Team All-Star, 4-time NHL Second All-Star Team or Second Team All-Star, 6-time NHL All-Star Game selection, ranked number 57 on the Athletics' greatest NHL players in modern NHL history list. He was named to the NHL 2000s All-Decade Second Team and to the NHL 2010s All-Decade Second Team by NHL.com. Over the course of his career, Chara had 209 goals, 471 assists for 680 points. Made the playoffs in 16 of his 24 NHL seasons, compiling 18 goals, 52 assists for 70 points in 200 NHL playoff games played.
What was his stick flex?
Boy, I bet he's such a big dude. We get into his stick actually in fun facts. I think it's fun facts. We don't get into the flex. but it is. We'll get into some facts about him and his shot and his stick. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, I'm sure it was high up there. He's a big, strong dude.
Okay, don't let me forget. I just want to mention this so I don't forget. You got to remind me. I have a fun fact.
Okay.
Once you're done with your fun facts, I've got a very, very interesting fun fact.
Awesome. The best season of his NHL career from a point standpoint was his 2011-12 season, where Chara had 12 goals, 40 assists for 52 points in 79 games played with the Boston Bruins. Chara was not a huge point producer. However, he did have 9 seasons of 40 or more points, with 3 of those seasons being of 50 or more points. Chara is one of the game's best defensemen of all time. He was a physical presence, and any offensive player who came into Chara's area was going to immediately be pestered and pay the price. He wasn't very fun to play against, plus he was huge. I think it's safe to say Chara will be a future Hall of Famer because he's retired now, but once his voting comes up, I'm assuming he'll get in because he had an outstanding, remarkable career. Again, here's a crazy stat. I didn't even put this in fun facts. I'm not the biggest plus minus guy, and the flaws in the metric are well documented. However, Chara was a career plus 301, which is dang near incredible given top defenseman, always on the ice against top lines, top pairs. It's pretty amazing that his plus minus was plus 301.
Well, we know he didn't play for the Sharks.
Oh, man, that whole team. Whew. Also, we know about Chara, he was massive. His size gave him incredible reach with his stick, and he was stronger than most anyone on the ice. He also racked up over 2,000 penalty minutes during his career. Chara is also an athletic freak, and there's multiple stories of guys saying they've never seen anyone work as Chara does on or off the ice. He was known for getting done with practice, going home, and then going on a 3-hour bike ride. I don't think I could do that. I'd be too tired for practice.
How tall is he? Oh, you're going to get into that.
Oh, yeah, we get into that. That's fun fact area. All right. So I kind of mentioned it. Our boy Chara is retired from the NHL. He retired on September 20th. Not 2002. 2000. Boy, I was probably asleep writing these notes. 2022, signing a one-day contract with the Boston Bruins. Currently, he is an ambassador for Right to Play and You Can Play organizations. I'm sure he's a Boston and Bruins ambassador too. I don't know. I didn't see that much on what he was really currently doing right now. But now here's what Josh wants. Fun, interesting facts. So I will remember at the end to let you get your fact in.
I won't remember. So yeah.
Tell me when it's my... Okay, I will. His nicknames for Chara are Big Z, Just Z, like Z-E, The Letter of the Law, and this might be my favorite, Zaddy.
I call BS on that. Really? It's Zaddy? Who called him that? I want to talk to that person and shame them for being weird.
You know, someone probably just put that in and knew someone like us would read it. All right, at 6 feet, 9 inches, Chara is the tallest NHL player in history. With his Stanley Cup in 2011 with Boston, Chara became only the second European-born and trained captain to lift the cup, after Nicholas Lidstrom of the Detroit Red Wings, and the first from a country behind the Iron Curtain.
Both defensemen, which is kind of...
Yeah. Chara holds the record for hardest shot at the NHL All-Star Skills Competition at 108.8 miles per hour in 2012. Growing up, Chara was encouraged to quit hockey by his coaches due to his size. Coaches said he should play basketball, and he was routinely cut from hockey teams for being too tall. Absolutely crazy. I don't think that happens now, but he said he always was cut to like the worst team or a rec team because they thought he was just too tall to play. They wanted to play basketball.
Still too short to be a goalie, though?
Yeah, probably too short to be a goalie in a couple of years. During his playing career, Chara received a special waiver from the NHL to use sticks that were 4 inches longer than the maximum allowable length due to his height. Chara completed the 2023 Boston Marathon in a time of 3 hours, 38 minutes, and 23 seconds. Also, in 2008, Chara climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. So he is an athletic freak. I can't believe he ran the Boston Marathon. I would like to say Troy ran the 2001 Chicago Marathon in a time on 4 hours and I think 30 minutes. So whatever, Chara. I guess you're an hour faster on a way harder marathon course than Chicago. Chicago's awesome. It's the flattest one in the U.S., I think.
You ran a marathon?
Oh, yeah, 2001. I was because I will always remember because it was September 11th. All that stuff happened. Marathon was October. Like training got interrupted because all the stuff that was going on. But I did it. 4 hours and 30 minutes, I think my time was.
Did your toenails fall off?
No, but I didn't wear Band-Aids, and we'll just leave it at that.
Oh.
All right. Chara is a polyglot and speaks 7 languages: Slovak, Czech, Polish, Swedish, Russian, German, and English. So you're pretty good.
Wait. What's that word again? Polyglot?
I think it's polyglot, right?
What does that mean?
It means multiple language speaker.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I looked it up. I had to because I thought it was something else, but that's what I got. Polyglot. Chara started his NHL career, Josh, while I was still in college. I think that's pretty crazy that he just graduated, that he just retired last year, but his NHL career started. And it's not like I was ending my college. No, I was like early college, and he started his NHL career. So that's my fun fact. All right, Josh, what's your fun fact?
I'm going to blow your mind.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because my mind was blown. So today's been, like I said, a total gong show. Was in the car all day, left at 4 a.m, was rushing because we have to record the episode and get it done tonight. So I really didn't want to stop, Troy. I think so. I got beef jerky, like those like tender bite things, at like 9 a.m. and did not eat until I got to when I rolled in here about like 6 p.m. Let's call it. So I'm like starving. I'm dying. And I get everything in the hotel and I walk right next door. The closest thing is a Taco Bell. So I'm like, okay, we're doing Taco Bell tonight. I just have to eat like right now. Did you know in Canada, for meals at Taco Bell, the side is French fries?
I did not know that. I thought you were going to say you ran into Chara or Chara was like the spokesman for Taco Bell.
It's way more important than that. Isn't that strange?
That is strange. I don't associate fries with Taco Bell. But
and they weren't that bad.
Yeah. Well, they have those nacho fries here is what they call them.
Yeah, I had 2 soft shell tacos and French fries, which is
nice.
I don't know. It might be like it's like normal in Canada, but that's not what happens in the U.S. at Taco Bell. So
that's good. Good to know. I like that. A good story. I forgot to put this picture for our YouTube people when I was talking about his height, just to show how tall he is. Just a beast. He doesn't look scared. Yeah, he doesn't look at the guy's eyes. He's like looking over his head. So that's our boy Chara. Now let's look at his card. His rookie card. We're going way back machine. 1997 SP Authentic Future Watch number 186. PSA 10, Josh, has a pop of 16 with a gem rate of 8%. Last sale was on May 9th, 2023 via ebay.com and verified in Terapeak for $3,333.33 US. Before that, there was a sale on May 2nd, 2023 via ebay.ca and verified in Terapeak for $2,068.60 US. Then, previous to that sale, was a sale on December 1st of 2022 for $599.99 US. And that was in Terapeak as well. This kind of sends red flags off. I know they're in Terapeak, but something weird goes on. And then you look at that $3,000, 333 whatever dollars and 33 cents sale US, and it was sold by Probstein. So I'm going to just say, take that for what it's worth. I'm not sure I would use that as for a comp, even though we kind of don't like that word, but I mean, I could see it maybe going just a week between those two sales and $1,300 difference seems very odd. Something's not right. Obviously, low pop, great player, retired. I don't know. Just something seems off there. But
top 16, so maybe.
Yeah, I mean, could be. Maybe I'm the idiot, but just something seems weird.
In general, though, for guys like this, I'm kind of glad that they don't have a Young Guns as their rookie with a pop of 2,200.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it would be like what, $60?
Yep.
Something like that. If that. So yeah, it makes his rookie card very exclusive and hard to get and kind of spendy, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is kind of cool. Zdeno Chara, very, very good try.
All right.
Thank you for that. Okay, we're back for another edition of Rookie Deep Dive. It's our opportunity to learn more about the rookies that are making noise in the NHL and in the hockey card hobby. So each week we do an Instagram poll and throw out our 4 candidates and let you guys kind of pick, or our Instagram followers vote on which player we should deep dive for the given week. In the most recent iteration of our Rookie Deep Dive, we've kind of focused on Series 1 rookies since that release just came out. And so we've done Matthew Nyes in episode 80, Luke Hughes, episode 84, Devin Levi, episode 125, Matthew Coronado, 127, Dustin Wolf, 129. And our last one was Ridley Gregg in 131. But I thought now, okay, so Series 1's been out for a few weeks. We're starting to get the early stages of a rookie scoring leaderboard and kind of maybe sneak peek at who could be the Calder favorites. And so I thought I would expand it out a little bit to just Calder Trophy eligible rookies at large. So our 4 candidates this week are Marco Rossi, Brock Faber, Yaroslav Askarov, and Bobby Brink. Got the poll results here. And not a big surprise because he's been pretty dang good the last few weeks. Marco Rossi kind of ran away with it at 43%, followed by Askarov at 23%, then Brock Faber at 19%, and Bobby Brink, who's made some noise too.
Tonka Boy, come on.
Tonka Boy, yeah. Troy's high school there. Okay, so that makes Marco Rossi this week's Rookie Deep Dive. We're going to dig in and learn more about him, Troy.
I love this picture if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because it's like 3 guys and then Rossi just looking at them all. And Kaprizov, he looks bored.
Kalen Addison just got traded today.
Oh, so yeah.
Maybe we should take like a black marker and kind of color him out of that picture.
Speaking of Eriksson, he was a beast last night.
I didn't get to see the game. I was busy scrambling, panicking to try to get ready for this trip. Okay, so Rossi is a 22-year-old wild rookie, originally from Feldkirch, Austria.
Wow.
Okay, so now is this the part of the story where you tell us you played hockey there, Troy? Because every time
I did not. I have not been to Austria. Not been to Austria. That's on my wife's list because she wore out 3 different VCR tapes as a kid of The Sound of Music. So she really would like to go to Austria and do like the Sound of Music tours. And I just said, I'm going to laugh when she runs through the hills and does all that stuff.
You would frolic in the mountains with her. Don't even.
But that's on our list. Some point we will be going to Austria to do that.
Well, Rossi's another one of these itty bitty offensive kind of dynamo forwards. He's 5'9", Troy, 183 pounds. Seems like baseball and hockey are the last sports you can be 5'9" and play professionally.
Well, I was going to say, how many season-ending shoulder injuries has he had? Because that's our thing with all these little guys.
He's had his other issues, which we'll get to. So while he was born in Austria, he moved to Switzerland, though, at the age of 11 in an effort to further his hockey career.
Interesting.
And then in 2018, he made his way over to North America to play for your favorite team, Troy, the Ottawa 67s in the OHL, where he was pretty good there. And have you ever wondered why the Ottawa OHL team's called the 67s?
I've never wondered, but I guessed. I was right. I guessed it was for a year, 1967 would have been my guess. I don't know the reason why that year is important, but probably.
Oh, I do because I looked it up.
Oh, you did.
So the Ontario Hockey Association granted the city of Ottawa an expansion franchise on February 16th, 1967. 4 months later, the team was given the nickname 67s in honor of Canada's centennial year. So it looks like they were founded in Canada's centennial year.
So we're going to have to ask Phil this. What's an Ottawa citizen called? An Ottawatonan? I have no clue. I'm going to guess. Oh, I have no idea. Someone will tell us or we'll ask. We'll find out at the expo.
Yeah, we got to get lots of questions answered. We got to figure out why you get French fries at Taco Bell and what do we call people from Ottawa? Okay, so in the 2 seasons with the 67s, he Scored 68 goals, added 117 assists for 185 points and 109 total games played. That's a 1.7 point per game average in the O. He was so good in his second season, 2019-20, where his 126 points that year, Troy, led the entire CHL in scoring. Did you know that about Marco Rossi?
I did not know that.
So he was then awarded the Eddie Powers Memorial Trophy, which is given to the player with the most points in the regular season in the OHL. Also won the Red Tilson Trophy for most outstanding player in the OHL, and then was the CHL scoring champion as well.
Fantastic names. You read Eddie Powers, and I just thought of Kenny Powers right away from
Eastbound
Eastbound
and
and
Down.
Down.
I think Eddie was Kenny's dad. So this led our Minnesota Wild to draft him with the 9th overall pick in the 2020 NHL entry draft. Coming into the draft, here's what Ottawa 67's coach said about Rossi. I left the coach's name out because I couldn't pronounce it. Just full disclosure. Okay, I'll try it because I think it'll be funny. Andre, I got that part. Tourigny?
That's as best as I could do. I would be like Tourigny.
Tourigny? One something there in between. He's the coach of the Ottawa 67s.
I was going to say, just let everyone know, I told Josh this. I found the NHL media pronunciation guide from 2021-22, and I have that thing up on my computer now for all these.
They haven't updated it in like 2 years, right?
I haven't updated it in 2 years. I haven't seen a new one, but at least I have something to help us. Andre
T., coach of the Ottawa 67s, says this about Rossi. He's relentless. His competitiveness is through the roof. He has tremendous hockey sense, good skills, and a good shot. So after the draft, the Wild signed him right away to a 3-year entry-level contract. And the plan was to, now remember, this is the 2020 NHL entry draft.
Yeah.
They loaned him to the ZSC Lions in Switzerland to play during the summer prior to the start of the NHL training camp. And COVID happens, pandemic, he gets sick, and this is kind of where everything sort of derailed for him.
Yep.
So remember that year, the start of the NHL season was delayed, and I think it kicked back up around January of 2021.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
And the Wild still invited him to their training camp, but by that time he was suffering from severe long COVID symptoms. And instead of coming back to North America to join the Wild at training camp, he went back to his home in Austria and basically missed an entire year of hockey. If you're interested to learn more about kind of his illness and struggle to get back to hockey, the Wild do this great series for almost all their players,
Yep.
kind of a profile. It's called Becoming Wild. And if you want, you can go onto YouTube and just search Marco Rossi Becoming Wild, and you'll find it. It's like 25 minutes. It's really, they played on the Bally Sports regional cable network here, and then stream it on YouTube as well. But he was so sick at some point, he said he feels lucky he's still alive.
Yeah.
At this point. So it was a pretty long and I think, tough battle back to the ice. So he I guess is able to come back to North America in 2021, played that season in the AHL with the Iowa Wild, scoring 18 goals, adding 35 assists for 53 points and 63 games played. So not a bad return, but of course in the AHL. And then the thought was coming into last year, Troy, that, okay, now he's recovered. He's had a full season in the AHL. He's ready for now the NHL, and God knows the Wild have desperately needed more offensive output. They had gotten rid of Kevin Fiala, I believe, prior to the start of last season. And he did make the team right out of camp, but then sputtered like really badly at the start of the season. So he played 19 games, or the first 19 games of the 2022-23 season with the Wild, and had all of 1 assist.
Yeah.
And it was kind of sad because he was struggling so much, and I think it was really getting to him. You could just see it on his face, and I think he missed maybe a couple open nets, and it just was very apparent he was not ready for the NHL for one reason or another last year. And so the Wild sent him back to the AHL, where again, though, he played pretty well. He had 16 goals last year, 35 assists for 51 points and 53 games played. So in 2 years in the AHL, pretty close to a point per game average for Rossi. So that gets us all caught up to this season, where again he makes a Wild out of camp. But thankfully for us as Wild fans, and for anyone that's followed Marco Rossi's career or collected his cards, it's gone much, much better. Through the Wild's first 11 games, he has 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points. And as a couple people that, we don't get to watch the Ducks play, but we typically see most every Wild game, and he's been fantastic. He's been really, really good. And what's even kind of more interesting, I think, from a hobby perspective, if you have any sort of interest in Rossi, is the Wild. While Rossi's been good, the Wild really have not been great.
Yeah.
We've struggled pretty mightily, and that's led Dean Evason, our coach, to switch the lines quite a bit. And for the last couple of games, they've been using on the top line Rossi at center, along with Boldy and Kaprizov at wings. I don't know about you, Troy, but I really like this line.
I do. I want offensive firepower. All those guys can score. I'm all for it. They got to do something. They're such a mess at times.
And the biggest need for our team for the last 2 years has been to get a center that a capable and good center to play with Kaprizov.
Yeah.
Last year is Sam Steele, and is he in the league?
I have no idea.
I don't know. And then Ryan Hartman's been fine, but he's not your number one center on a good NHL team, and so I'm really hopeful that Rossi is kind of primed and ready to go ahead and take that spot and not let it go.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Rossi back. I know you watch that Becoming Wild thing and you read about it, and it was bad. Like, it was deathbed bad. Like, at some point they thought it was getting like maybe this guy ain't gonna make it, but I'm glad he's back. He's obviously lighting it up. I think he's second in points behind Brink for rookies. If I remember right, I think Brink's got 8. Rossi's got 7. Tied with Connor Bedard for goals, so take that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're interested in a rookie and you want to especially spend decent money on a card, you want them to be ready for the moment, have the talent, have the goal scoring pedigree. Remember, he led the CHL in scoring his last year there, and then play with good talent. And Kaprizov, as we've talked about before, is an amazing passer. Boldy is obviously very talented too. So it's just a great situation for Rossi, and hopefully he keeps it going.
Yep, agree.
Marco Rossi is a 2022-23 Young Guns. His PSA 10 pop 287, has a 37% gem rate. It last sold for only 65 US on November 6th, a flat since the start of the season. And honestly, it's down because last year was like a false start to his career, really. And so he was a 2022 rookie. He was, remember, it was kind of like you had with the sort of Beniers and Shane Wright pairing. You had Boldy and Rossi, and he had a little bit of steam and hype coming in the season, but was pretty bad. And so that affected his market to a great deal. So you're hopeful that...
Hopeful. Yep. I like what I'm seeing so far. I'm hopefully that year off kind of got that fire burning even more now that he's back. So hopefully that he can keep it up, and Kaprizov can keep giving passes, and Kaprizov can score like he did last night finally. Sorry, I'm turning this into a Wild moaning session, but
we should do like a Wild Wine Line podcast. I mean, nobody will listen to it, but I think it'd be fun and therapeutic for us to do.
Yeah, they do. I think they do a Vikings wine line on KFan. Or sorry, it's a local sports radio station here. But I watched the game last night, and then I see immediately when I turn the game on, what do I see? Fleury make a good save, but then fall over backwards and start rolling around like he does. But
he just does that to bother you. He knows you're watching.
I know.
All right, Troy. Got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. Many thanks to them for their continued support of our show. Huge news from the Slab Sharks crew. This is pretty awesome. They were just named, I think yesterday or the day before, eBay Canada named them Entrepreneur of the Year for 2023. Very huge honor. Well-deserved for the entire Slab Sharks team. Congratulations to them if they're listening. Awesome. And definitely deserve it because they've been working very, very hard at building their business and creating a great consignment service for the Canadian market. So if you're at the Toronto Sport Card Expo this week, be sure to check out their booth, maybe drop off some cards for consignments. And if you're not going to see them in person today or this weekend, remember the current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction ends tonight on Thursday. So be sure to visit slabsharks.com for a link to the auction, place your bids. If you missed this week's auction, no worries. Once one ends, the next begins. So they just kind of roll on with the next one. And Troy, if you're a Canadian hockey cards collector and haven't considered Slab Sharks for your eBay consignment services, we'd really recommend that you check them out. Why? Well, the list kind of is getting longer and longer. There's lots of reasons to do it. Number one, they make it super easy to sell your cards on eBay because they do all the work, and nobody likes the process of listing cards or taking photos, answering buyer questions, trying to get paid for your auctions, or dealing with any post-sale issues. Why do that? Let Slab Sharks take care of all that for you. Plus, they've got the new website. I think we talked about that last episode. They've got a new customer portal that's launching by the end of this month. They're investing heavily to ensure really that you, the consigner, have the best possible experience consigning your cards with them. They have the 98% payout rate on Connor Bedard cards through next June. And I guess finally, their auctions are huge, and they're getting bigger and bigger each week. It's kind of appointment viewing and bidding for tons of hockey collectors in both the U.S. and Canada and really beyond. And I guess they're the eBay Canada Entrepreneur of the Year, so they got to be doing something right now.
Agree.
Head to slabsharks.com for complete consignment information to get started consigning with them today, or stop by their booth at the Fall Expo. Hobby news.
Short hobby news. Yeah. Big hobby news, but
we're on the road. Gongshow's on the road.
Yeah, Gongshow on the road. We shortened hobby news. It's depressing. It's sad. It stinks. But I'll let Josh run with it.
So Jack Campbell placed on waivers. The reeling Edmonton Oilers placed their goaltender Jack Campbell on waivers, Troy. He started the 2023-24 NHL season with a 1-4-0 record going along with a .873 save percentage and just a 4.5 goals against average.
Yeah.
So I think you heard what he did, clear waivers, so he's reassigned to the AHL. Yep. A little bit of a kind of fall from grace from Jack. Is it mean that I picked a photo where the puck's just like flying right by?
You know what I love about this photo is that he looks really good. Like this setup, his gear is it looks great. Love the picture, love the color, but yeah, the puck's going in.
He's got everything going for him except saving the puck.
Yeah, well, it should be you look good, you play good, but that's not the case here. And it's not like I was saying, it's not like his goaltending partner is doing much better, but Campbell's going to be the one to fall on the sword right now.
Yeah, you're a goalie expert, so I got a whole bunch of questions for you about this. At this point, Troy, do you think the Oilers should just play with an empty net and go with the sixth skater?
No, but there's at times when they get power plays, they should think about just pulling the goalie and going 6-on-4. If they ever get a 5-on-3, no matter what period, just pull the goalie and go 6-on-3. Try to get goals. They need to do something. That team is a wreck too. Not as bad as San Jose, but for all the hype and what people thought that team was going to do coming into the season, us included, I thought they'd be pretty good. It's just not working out.
My assumption was once they made this move that they were going to make a trade.
Yeah.
And bring in kind of a veteran to shore up the goaltender situation there. It does not appear like that's what, unless I missed something today while I was driving.
Yeah.
What I heard is that there's a 31-year-old prospect. You can call him that at 31. Calvin Pickard from.
Pickard. Yeah. He was with the Predators. I thought he was with the Predators at one point. I'm going to look him up.
Oh, did Pekka have him under his wing?
I think he was not with Nashville. Colorado, Detroit. Okay. I'm thinking of someone else. Oh, I think of Chet something. Yeah, I'm who's this guy?
Calvin Pickard.
Calvin Pickard. Yeah, I was thinking of a different guy. Sorry.
Bakersfield Condors of the AHL. It's just a mess. This whole Oilers deal. And I'm not an Oilers fan. I like Draisaitl.
Yeah.
I like who doesn't like Connie McDavid? But I'm really frustrated by this. And I feel like very often these days in sports, whether it be like a GM or front office, their total move is to be the guys that outfox the fox and outthink everyone.
Yeah.
I'll give you the analogy with our Minnesota Vikings football analogy here. For 10 years, we haven't had an offensive line, and our quarterback gets killed every single time he drops back. But at no point have they thought to put any amount of focus on actually fixing the offensive line,
Yeah.
because it turns out like that's an important position. And take my football analogy now to Edmonton. After last year and the year before, the fact that they didn't do anything this summer and they're like, oh, we're just going to roll with Jack Campbell.
Yeah,
You
and
got
Skinner.
Connor
Right?
McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on your team, and that's your plan. I just don't understand that. It's like sometimes it seems so obvious, but these
Yeah.
guys, it's like they have to prove how smart they are, that they don't just do what everyone in the world knows that you should do. The Oilers, Troy, are 2-8-1 in 11 games. So if this goes on for like another week or two and you get to 20 games and they have, let's say, 4 wins, at that point, it's a total like uphill battle to even make the playoffs.
Well, at that point, you're probably, I don't know what the odds are, but you're probably like a 90% chance not to make the playoffs. If at some point you get so far behind, you can't even make up the room.
I mean, if I have to bet, if you're forcing me to bet that I can't see them not making the playoffs. But like I said, if this keeps going on like it is, that's going to be a reality sooner than later. And then what happens this year if Connor McDavid doesn't make the playoffs?
Oh, if they don't make the playoff, I don't know what their GM situation is, but if I'm the owner, that's the first person I'm going after.
Well, didn't they just sign McDavid's agent as like the new president or something like that?
Oh, was that before? So that
was this summer.
Okay, I'm curious. Yeah, that's right. I remember now you said that. I remember that. That'd be interesting. So maybe, I don't know. They're
just get a goalie.
Yeah, get a goalie. Hey, call Marc-Andre Fleury, see if he wants to come up there.
You want to get rid of him?
Actually, I don't. He's actually doing pretty well as a backup right now.
Yeah.
Heck, he might be the starter after Gustafsson keeps struggling.
So, what was your favorite Jack Campbell hobby relevancy moment? Because it's got to be kind of over now, huh?
Yeah, it was about a couple times. He got hot for about a couple days. I think I should look. What did he start with? Dallas? Was he starting with Dallas and then Toronto? Maybe
his rookie is a Dallas card.
Yeah,
and I think too, even about the time we started our show, maybe I think he was coming into his first year with the Oilers, and there's some people pretty excited about that, but has not worked out.
Yeah, nope.
Jack Campbell, he's a 2013 Young Guns PSA 10. Oh, there you go, in a Dallas Stars uniform. PSA 10 pop 57, so another really low pop rookie, Troy. 60% gem rate, less sold for 80 US on October 8th, which is kind of mind blowing. It's that high.
That's that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, and about a month earlier, it sold for 23. So, and that was like right before the season. So I think somebody was like really betting on a comeback year for Jack Campbell. So we're gonna file that one in the regrettable purchase, which I'm not judging because I have lots of sales, and my regrettable purchase folder is pretty full.
I love this picture on his card though. It could be the angle, but it just looks like how much smaller his equipment is. Whoops, sorry. Like the shoulder pads they wear now, goalies wear the absolute biggest they can get into because they've realized they can still move, and actually it helps to take up a lot of the net. But you look at the shoulder pads or the chest protector he wears now versus back then, and it could be he just was smaller back then too. And the pads are even, these ones got the leather straps, and it's just, I love looking at that stuff. Sorry, that might be the only one.
No, man. Hey, geek out.
I do me.
Yeah, you do you. Well, we're gonna transition and talk about the proverbial, metaphorical, whatever you want to call it, hobby panic button.
Oh yeah.
So we're about a month now into the NHL season. Can you believe that? We've had some amazing starts from players like Jack Hughes, AM34, Austin Matthews, our very own Marco Rossi, right? Having a great rookie campaign so far. But as always, Troy, the universe finds its way to balance itself out. So when you have some incredible starts, you've got a number of players that are struggling. And here's kind of like why I thought this segment was was useful and I guess pertinent to our show is when we do this, we do the struggle bus every week, but that's a very limited window of time.
Yeah.
We typically look at what roughly the last week or last 7 games or so, where now, like I said, we're a dozen games into the season and we have some guys that are frankly struggling. And I thought it kind of makes sense at this point to ask that question, right? Are we ready to hit the hobby panic button? So we're going to take a look at a batch of notable players that, like I said, have struggled so far and really look through the primary lens of the hobby on these. And then what's going to happen is the ever knowing and almighty hockey cards prognosticator Troy, that's you, Troy, who once was so confident that the Kirill Kaprizov Young Guns PSA 10 pop count would get so out of control that you bought one at the absolute apex, if only to prove that point. You were right. You said, see, I told you this was going to happen. So you're going to tell us if it's time to hit the hobby panic button on each of these guys, or should we just maybe ride it out a little bit more and calm down and hold on? So does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, first guy, talked about him a little bit. We're going to go right to the struggle bus and gotta talk about Matty Beniers.
Is that fish on the struggle bus? Holy cow. I've never seen this.
Yeah, they throw fish on the ice for some reason in Seattle.
Cool.
It can't be for scoring goals because he hasn't scored any this year. So through his first 12 games, he's got 0 goals, 4 assists for 4 points. Coming off, of course, the Calder Trophy winning rookie season where he had 24 goals, 33 assists, 57 points in 80 games played. He's the face of the 2022-23 hobby class, has been the marquee pull, right, for me, all these sets that have been coming out. When you look at sort of his hobby chase, Troy, to date, 8,725 Beniers cards have sold in the secondary markets per the Card Ladder sales history. He's at 106 sales of more than $500 US, 23 sales of more than $1,000 US. Current Young Gun PSA 10 value about 120, down about $40 from the start of the season. So Troy, if you've invested big in Matty Beniers, if you pull the 101, if you're a collector, investor, a fan, is now the time to hit the hobby panic button on Matty Beniers.
Oh, I'm a little panicky on him. Now I'll be honest, I don't watch a ton of Seattle games, but it just every time I've watched him, nothing out there gets me super excited. And I don't hear the buzz about him now, like that he's still out there flying and looking good. Just things aren't clicking. So I would say with Beniers, I'm on the panicky side with him.
Yeah, I agree. I just felt like he kind of reminded him and Boldy were a little bit similar last year, and they would just disappear for long stretches. And he should be on the side of a milk carton right now, missing to that degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't know. I think that he is just going to be, well, number one, I assume he's not going to have 0 goals for the year. He'll turn it around. But I don't see a 45 to 50 goal scorer in Matty. No. I just feel like he's like a 30 goal, 80 point guy.
He might be an assist machine. He got I know you did this before they played last night, but he got 2 assists last night, no goals. But maybe he's so he's at 0.6 assists. So maybe he's just going to be an assist machine the rest of this season. But no, I get what you're saying.
And again, we're trying to look at the hobby lens, and there's lots of cards that you hit a big Future Watch Auto patch, and people want $2,000. So is that a good investment too? And we're not just trying to look at it from the pure investor side, but I try to make this point all the time. Even if you're just a collector and you don't care if cards go up and down, and if Matty Beniers is your guy, it still matters how much these cost to acquire, right?
Yeah.
Like do you really want to spend $2,000 on a card that maybe has a resale value of $400 2 years from now? People don't usually get wealthy with that sort of strategy. And so I tend to agree with you. I'm worried about that. I'm not worried that he's not going to be a productive hockey player. I'm just worried he's going to ever be a hobby star.
Yep.
Next guy, again, from the struggle bus, most recent, but got to go with him. Juraj Slavkovsky. Troy's favorite name to say of all NHL players. We should just do a show where you just say his name over and over again.
I'll just sit there and read the media guide to everyone.
We'll just alternate. You say Slavkovsky's name, and I'll try to pronounce the coach of the Ottawa 67. We'll lose every single listener we've ever had. So if this was an exercise in hitting the panic button, being terrified of a name pronunciation, I think Troy, you'd have slammed it about 20 seconds ago, of course. I just had to work that joke in there. Slavkovsky, of course, number one. Good Lord. Slavkovsky was the number one overall pick in the 2020 NHL entry draft. Raised a few eyebrows at the time, if you recall, because, and we've talked about this before too, he did not have that Marco Rossi pedigree where you say, oh, Marco Rossi led the entire CHL in points. So I get it. He's the 9th pick.
I'm gonna put you on the struggle bus. 2022 NHL entry draft.
Oh yeah. 2020. Oh, Rossi was 2020.
Yeah, I was like, I better say something or else someone's going to yell at us.
Yeah, 2022, number one overall pick. And when we looked at his past, before, he had a couple really good international tournaments.
Yeah.
But remember, those are like 7 games.
Yeah.
So a guy can pop off and have a dozen points or something like that in those 7 games. And I think that because of his size, and he obviously has skills, right, that led him to be drafted number 1 overall. So you go, and then at 18 years old, he makes the Canadiens at the start of the season last year, plays 39 games, 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points, suffers a knee injury, misses the entire second half. So not a great sample size, but not good. 10 points in 40 games for a number 1 overall draft pick is not good. This season, through 11 games, he has a goal and assist for 2 points. Giving him now, so now he's played 50 total NHL games, Troy. He's got 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to say that's not what you want to see in your number 1 overall pick. He is just 19 years old. Of course, he has size for days. Has shown flashes at times of what made him the number 1 pick, but he's also lost at times too. Like, I haven't seen a big guy get rocked as much as Slavkovsky has. And I don't know. I actually think like the hobby's been a little tepid on him too. There's been 3,500 Slavkovsky sales to date on the secondary market, 24 sales greater than 500 US, 5 sales greater than 1,000 US. So again, kind of a muted approach for, again, number 1 overall pick. You would assume a little bit more of a hobby chase, especially too because he's the Canadiens.
Yeah.
Number 1 overall pick. So Troy, in all your knowingness and smartitude, is now the time to hit the hobby panic button on Juraj Slavkovsky.
I don't think it's time on him yet. I think he's still got some good things. And I want to see how this experiment works with moving him to with Suzuki and Caulfield on that first line. Obviously, he responded the first game, and they did that with a goal. Second game, I just looked it up. He didn't have anything. I kind of want to see how that goes because that was kind of this catalyst that was missing per a lot of people, that he needs to be on that first line. That will show his skill. He'll work with Caulfield, Suzuki. They're great players. They'll help him both ends of the ice. He'll make good passes. He'll get good passes. So I want to see that first. But if that experiment does not work, then I'm panicking. But I feel bad panicking because he's still 19, big dude, a lot of skill. But yeah, I've seen him a couple times. I have not been impressed that much, even though his goal from his first game with Suzuki and Caulfield was sweet.
So is this a trend now that we're seeing? It has to be a trend because we're seeing all over the place sticking these young guys with the best players. Like we've seen it in New York with Lafreniere.
Yeah.
And now with Slavkovsky, who else was just Marco Rossi, right? They put with Kaprizov and Boldy.
Well, if you want to see what you have, you might as well put them with your best and see.
I think in the past they've dumped a lot of these guys on like the 3rd or 4th line.
Yeah.
With the idea of, well, you got to work your way up to
do that.
A top 6 role. I hate saying this, but I think I'm out on Slavkovsky.
Oh, you're out. You're just out.
I take no joy in saying this. I really
Who would you rather have, Slavkovsky or Shane Wright?
I don't think he's going to be in the NHL 2 years from now.
Really?
Is that a bold?
That's a bold statement. That's a bold statement. I feel the hotline ringing. I can hear it from all our Montreal fans. They're about to.
I'm not
Go nuts.
rooting for that, of course.
I know. You're gonna get some
just
opinions at the card show, I think.
it's just really scary how
Yeah.
little he's producing. But you're right. We're gonna learn over the next dozen games or 20 games whether he is ready for the NHL. I suppose he's still young enough where you could ship him to the AHL for a while, and 2 years he could still come back at 21.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little premature for me to be, but just from the hobby perspective, I'm out until proven otherwise. I'll let other people take their risk because I think it's very, very risky at this point. Next guy, another one we've talked about at length, but I think you have to include him on this list, is Trevor Zegras. What a weird year he's had, Troy. So he goes from the cover of NHL 23 and leading the Ducks in points last year to a summer where it looked like his team didn't even want him. And it basically lowballed him like an insulting offer.
Boy, who they knew what they were doing, it looks like. Holy cow.
And then the negotiations got ugly, right? You
Yep.
started to get information leaked out from the Ducks that really made it seem like they're not even convinced he's going to be a star player. The holdout lasted really towards the end of training camp, of course, which put Zegras behind the 8 ball a little bit to start the season, and it looks like he's still trying to catch up. So through 11 games played, he has 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points, otherwise known as the Slafkovsky trick.
Oh, jeez. You're doubling down on it now. You're doubling down on it. Twisting the knife on Slafkovsky.
Zegras has been playing on the Ducks' first line with Leo Carlsson and Troy Terry, also on the first power play unit. So he's getting plenty of opportunities. Jeez, even Leo Carlsson, who I think has been like playing every other game to this point, has 3 goals and assists for 4 points in his 7 games. Now, Zegras does have 29 shots in those 11 games, so maybe it's just a matter of getting better shot selection or the puck going in the net, maybe lucky bounce here or there. I don't know. But I've seen plenty of articles, though, about him so far this season where the general theme or consensus seems to be that he's just not looked like himself at this point.
Is he gripping the stick too tight?
Yeah, maybe he needs to get a lower flex or something like that.
I mean, he's embarrassed that Sarah Nurse is a better player than he is. Oh.
She's a good player.
Oh, she good. Oh, yeah.
The hobby's gone like super deep on the flashy Zegras too.
Yeah.
Again, compare like Zegras is a 2021 rookie. I get it. And Slafkovsky's 2022, but 16,467 Zegras cards have sold in the secondary markets per card letter sales history. 295 sales more than 500 US. 61 sales over 1,000 US. So if you've spent big money, there's been some like $10,000 cards that have sold for Zegras. If you spent big money on one of those, Troy, are you about to hit the hobby panic button, or where are you at?
I'm not panicking yet because I know missing training camp is a big deal. That's a big deal, and it takes. I've read where NHL coaches have said it takes around, if you miss training camp, it could take you 20 games or so, 20 to 30, get really into that game shape. So I'm not too worried about that. I am worried if that goes farther than if he can't score, I don't care about assists, score goals. If he sits at whatever he's at, 0? Has he got 0 so far or 1? You said it's Slafkovsky, so he's got 1. 1 goal, 1 assist. It's in my head now. I'm gonna remember that. But yeah, then I get a little worried. I'm not panicking yet, and I don't care about his defensive play. All that stuff, the GMs. I don't. From a hobby perspective, you really shouldn't care. You worry about the offensive side and scoring goals. I'm not panicking yet.
Oh, for the hobby, you want like 42 goals, 3 Michigans, a spinorama.
Yep, I want all flash. He could be negative 40, and I could care less. I couldn't care less. There we go.
Okay, so you're holding on a little bit on Zegras and letting it play out.
Yep.
Next guy is Lucas Reichel. Tons of hype, of course, about the possibility of Reichel teaming up with Bedard and potentially becoming another like dynamic hobby duo, right? You got Crosby Malkin, McDavid Draisaitl, Matthews Marner, Ovechkin, all these killer Ovechkin doesn't have anyone. It's not a good joke when you have to explain it. So last spring, he made that splash with the Blackhawks, scoring 7 goals, adding 8 assists for 15 points, 23 games played. Well, Troy, in his first 11 games played so far this year, he has 0 goals, 1 assist for 1 point, otherwise known as a Halfkovsky.
Nice. I'll give you that one. I like it. Now I got that one burned in my head. So I got a Slavkovsky is 1 goal, 1 assist, and a Halfkovsky is 0 goals. Can you have 1 goal, 0 assists? Is just 1 point?
I think either works.
Okay. All right. I got it.
So at this point, at his current pace, it will take him 165 games to reach last season's point total. I'm not sure the season's that long, so that could be a problem. Reichel has the goal scoring pedigree. He's excelled at just about every level of hockey he's played. So his current struggles are a little bit unexpected for sure. And I read a bunch of articles because I was really curious about this. It seems like there's a debate right now amongst Blackhawks peoples saying that should they move him to wing or keep the center experiment going. There's more defensive responsibilities at center. Of course, you can just focus more on sniping, I guess, at the wing. It seems like they want to keep him at center for now. And then if he's going to play center, you can't really pair him with Bedard either. And so, there's that question of we're seeing teams like Anaheim, and we just talked about the Wild, and who else were we talking about that paired? Oh, Slavkovsky, right? Putting him with Suzuki and Caulfield. It seems like Reichel might be languishing a little. He's playing with like Tyler Johnson and folks like that. And Reichel has more hobby steam than I think that you might realize. To date, 3,053 cards have sold in the secondary markets. So again, comparing that to Slavkovsky, it's just 500 less. 11 Reichel cards have sold for more than 500. He's got 1 card that sold for more than 1,000 US. So this was his Black Diamond Exquisite Rookie Shield 101 that in August, Troy, somebody paid 4,400 US for.
Whew.
It's a super nice card. Very cool. It's not, of course, all the NHL Rookie Shield 101s are pretty awesome. But to spend $4,000 on a card and for him to be sitting at a Halfkovsky, not great.
Of those 3,053 cards that have sold on the secondary market, I'm assuming 3,000 of those were sold the day that the Blackhawks got the number 1 lottery.
Pretty much.
Pick.
The day or probably the day after.
Yeah.
So, Lucas Reichel, Troy, are you going to hit the hobby panic button or are you holding out?
I'm holding out. Detroit. Chicago's terrible. It's just they're a rebuilding team. They got to figure out what to do with Reichel. It's not working right now. But I like his pedigree, like you said. But I'm not ready to panic yet on him. Move him around, see what we can do.
Okay, we're gonna move on, Troy. For next panic button candidate, we got to go with the wily veteran this time, and it's Alexander Ovechkin.
This looks photoshopped. Like, if you're watching on YouTube, that is quite the mug on Mr. Ovechkin there.
Now, you might be saying, how can you put a guy with 8 points in 10 games on a hobby panic button list?
Yeah.
Have we lost our minds? Well, of course we have, but that's not the point. It's the 2 goals in 10 games. That's what's eyebrow-raising to this point about Ovechkin. So he's pacing for 16 goals on the season. At that pace, it would take 4.25 seasons to tie Gretzky for the all-time goals record. Of course, that's not what anybody in the hobby wants.
Yeah,
I guess unless you're rooting for him not to get the record. Now, Ovi's slow starts have been fairly documented, and it's not like he's not shooting. So he's, in addition to his 2 goals, he has 41 other shots that have been saved, 24 shots blocked, and he's missed the net 21 times too. So what's that, about like 185 shot attempts? And that's a lot, right?
No, not 185.
No, 85 total.
85, yeah.
The big, I think, lingering hobby question is, of course, how much is the assumption that he breaks Gretzky's goals record is baked into his current values, and will the big and potentially, continued record-breaking sales slow down a little bit until Ovi heats up a little this year? So, Troy, if you've spent some big time dinero on big time money moolah on an Ovi card or two, or you're wanting to go big maybe on one of his rookies, are you thinking about hitting that hobby panic button at this point?
Yes, I'm sitting on the hobby button. I've smushed it with my
Really?
tush. Yes, I'm all over it. Because it's
So you're worried, huh?
I'm worried. He's no spring chicken. I just had to look up his age again. He's 38. Again, he's being Ovi. It's not like he's changing. But I've just watched some of the games where he does his little, I'll just stand. It seems like he's not moving as much.
What do
as
they call it?
used
The
to.
office? He just
Yeah, he
parks
just
there.
stands over there. Everyone in the world knows where he's at. He'll still score. But yeah, I'm worried just because I know it's a slow start, but again, he's 38. I think the pressure, the record, and all that stuff is going to keep happening. I don't know. I'm worried on Ovi.
What do you put? What's the percentage chance he breaks Gretzky's goals record at this point?
Before the season even started, I would have been up in like the 70 to 80s. I'm probably 40 to 50 now.
I still think it's like an 80% chance.
Yeah.
But it's not great for the hobby, of course. It would be awesome if he had 12 goals right now. There would be a lot of excitement around that. So that's interesting. So you're, I would not be hitting the panic button, but you're smashing it.
I'm smashing it.
All right. One more, Troy.
Oh.
And we got to throw a goalie into this situation a little bit. It's your guy, Devin Levi. What's happened, Troy? What's going on? Another
first. Yeah, I was gonna say you got it first. Let's look at these pads. These are sweet CCMs. They look like stitching, but it's not. I'm assuming these. Oh no, these are the ones that have like the graphics on top. Those are sweet looking. Look at that blocker, the glove and blocker. It looks great. Now what's happening? I don't know. He's struggling.
Goalie swag right now and then goalie performance. So.
Yeah, I'm loving the goalie look. If you sorry to go, I'm gonna go derailed. You got to find it on Instagram. The guy that painted the Heritage Classic goalie helmet, I think for Markstrom, showed his process and doing it. Did you see that helmet?
No.
Okay. Keep talking about Levi. I'm going to find what this thing looked like.
So far this season, Levi is 2-3 in 5 games played with a robust 3.14 goals against and a .885 save percentage. So what needs to happen? Do you think he needs like triple his like Jedi meditation time spent, Troy?
You know what? On this, I might jump the gun here. Can I already say if I'm panicking or not?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm not panicked one bit. Again, it's been a long time since we brought this up. Goalies typically always struggle when they're young. He's 21. Goalies don't come into their age, or besides, like you get Ottinger, you get some that come in, but a lot of them don't get come in and light the world on fire. They usually take a bit and start getting hot around 25, 26, 27, 28. We've said that. It's been statistically proven. So I'm actually not that worried with Levi, but I'm worried if I bought his cards at a super high price right now because he's struggling, but I would hold. I have no worries with Levi.
We just did a record sale. One of his Outburst Reds sold for over $1,000 the other day out of 25. Well, maybe, Troy, we need to send the hobby's favorite goalie coach out to Buffalo. Maybe teach Levi about the Royal Road.
Oh,
maybe help him have more quiet eyes, Troy.
Quiet eyes. Yep. You got it.
You up for that? Would you go give him a private lesson or two?
I subscribe to a thing called In Goal Magazine. It's not really a mag, it's an online site. And they do stuff with all the NHL goalies. They kind of show their stuff. And they had Levi on showing some of his warm-up drills. I think he's good. He's got a good goalie coach. He does a lot of his drills are like thinking thought experiments. It's really interesting to see his drills. Mm-hmm. But
to your point though, he's kind of been the goalie wonderkind, won every college award, and they that rare you just mentioned the rare jump from college to the NHL does not happen. So has not looked super to start. He has also missed a few games due to injury, so that doesn't help. He's been kind of leaky right now. 750 Devin Levi cards have sold in the secondary markets for card letter sales history. So his first NHL cards in earnest came out with Series 1 a few weeks ago. He has that one sale of more than 1,000 US, the Outburst Red, and 2 others more than 500 US. So you're not panicking. I'm not either. I just really hope it works out because it's like, gosh, there's so many teams in the NHL, Troy, that have real goalie problems right now.
Yeah,
Is this
it's
common, or is there something going on where it's
well,
like you hit like these? I'm going to make another football analogy, but
yeah.
kind of hit these waves or where it seems like there's no good like quarterbacks. Like get these stretches, and it seems like that there's not enough good goalies to go around every NHL
So,
team right
yeah, I haven't looked up the stats yet, but we know scoring was at an all-time high last year for I think the rate and maybe overall goals. And a lot of it is shooters are outpacing goalies right now. And I think that's probably the case still with this year. I haven't looked at the stats to see where the goal scoring rates are, but I know we've had back-to-back 10-goal games by teams,
now.
and it's been crazy. So I think you're on. There's definitely something going on with the goalies and the skill. And there's a lot of theories out there. I've talked about them in previous episodes, but I won't rehash. I'm going to do an on-air thing and just show real quick. That's Markstrom's mask.
Wow.
It's a knitted hat. It is but it's a skull. So it's like a knitted skull cap. It is just the coolest thing ever.
I'm guessing that took a few hours.
Oh yeah, it took a few hours. Cost probably a lot of money. So I just wanted to show that real quick.
All right, let's do a quick review of our first edition of Hobby Panic Button. So on Beniers, we're kind of both hitting the panic button.
Yeah.
On Slavkovsky, I'm smashing it, and you're
I'm not.
You're not at this point.
Yep.
On Zegras, I think we're both holding out a little bit. On Reichel, we're both holding out. On Ovi, you're smashing it.
I'm smashing.
I'm still confident, and then on Levi, we're holding out. Okay, Troy, new product releases. Nothing. Thank God. You hear that, everyone? That's the sound of the hobby catching its breath.
Yep.
I'd like to say. That being said, we're still expecting next releases to either be Credentials, O-Pee-Chee Platinum, or Ice. They would all be 2022-23 releases. So Matty Beniers, Matt Boldy, Slavkovsky, Marco Rossi. Hey, there you go. As of right now, all those are scheduled for November. I don't see 3 coming this month. I don't think that would be good.
No.
1 would be fine, but no checklist out yet. Probably the next few days, I'm guessing. I actually think I'm going to go out on a limb and say the 22nd will be the next.
All right.
Around there. Okay. There is a new ePack release, though, Troy.
Yes.
Today, Thursday, November 9th, 2021-22 O-Pee-Chee Platinum is now available on ePack. So we're recording this on Wednesday. It's not out quite yet. So we don't have a lot of details. As for these ePack releases, Upper Deck keeps most of the pertinent information like price or what some of the specific achievement cards under wraps until the product is released. So it's kind of, they give you a little more forewarning on physical like hobby products, but not on ePack. I think it officially becomes available on the ePack website 9 a.m. Pacific time on November 9th. What I'm most interested to see, because I assume it's like going to be the rainbow color wheel, which I'm a big fan of, by the way. I really like. That's might be my favorite. One of my favorite ePacks, I guess, specific cards. But I will typically buy those on ComC or like secondary market. But I'm most interested to see what the price is. So if you look right now, the hobby boxes, so the physical hobby boxes on Dave and Adams, they're down to 155 from 200.
Why would you buy ePack then? I can tell you it's going to be more than that. Why would you even buy ePack unless you're going for all the achievement stuff?
Well, that's my point, right?
Yeah.
Is Upper Deck will typically always price ePack more than hobby boxes because they don't want to undercut their LCS partners. And so if they go off of retail, like my guess, I kind of want to get your guess. I'm saying 230 is what I'm thinking. That it's good.
Yeah, 155. You said David Adams.
Well, it's 155 right now, but that's down from 199 to 200. So, and I think that they're gonna keep the original retail price, and that's where I'm getting the 230.
So yeah, I'm gonna say 200, 210. I'll go 210.
Maybe we'll see who's right, but we're gonna have all these weird situations. Getting back to the whole kind of state of the wax market thing, where it's a pretty tough sell. If you can get for
especially given the
$155.
quality, the issues we saw with quality and all that stuff.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll see who was right. We're right on the price. Okay, Troy, PWCC Gongshow partner sponsor. Thank you to them for their support of our show. Remember, they have that pretty awesome $14 per card grading special with SGC for raw cards you submit either to the vault or then you can add to the auction. You can also get cards graded via Beckett and CGCs through the same process as well. And if you're at the Fall Expo this week, be sure to check out the PWCC booth 416. I could be wrong, but I think this might be their first time a booth at the expo, so that's pretty awesome. Another quick reminder is a couple really big-time hockey cards in the November premiere auction, ending November 16th. There's a 79 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky rookie PSA 8, very nice card, and then there's a 51 Parker's Gordie Howe PSA 6 that has the PWCC E exceptional eye appeal rating, putting in the top 15% of all PSA 6s that they've seen. But Troy, every week with the PWCC Weekly, we take a look at our favorite vintage and modern cards. There's a lot of really awesome cards in this week's auction, so I encourage everyone to go to pwccmarketplace.com to check them out. We can only highlight a few, and so we're going to start with our favorite vintage cards, like we always do. And the first one I picked, Troy, is a 1957 Parkhurst Henri Richard, rookie of PSA 7, Henri. Card is a pop 45 at PSA 7 grade, and there's 41 graded higher. There's 0 PSA 10s of this card, and only 5 PSA 9s. Now, Henri Richard is the little brother of Maurice Rocket Richard, and was affectionately given the nickname then of Pocket Rocket, which is a whole nother meaning today, but this is a family show. Okay. How unfortunate, though, that you get kind of a nickname and then it turns out that, so that kind of sucks. Another reason for the Pocket Rocket nickname, though, is his stature. So 5'7". Did you know he was that small?
I did not know he was that small. It's very Bedard-like.
160 pounds. You think Bedard's closer to 5'7" than 5'9"? He does look small out there.
He looks small. Add skates and added another inch for fudging, and that's where you get to 5'9". Bedard's tiny.
And although the younger brother of the legendary Rocket Richard, Henri was no slouch as a player, Troy.
No.
He played 20 years in the NHL, all with your Montreal Canadiens. Won the Stanley Cup just 11 times as a player.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
This is the most cups any person has won strictly as a player. He also has 2 Stanley Cup winning goals, which is the most by any player. So his 11 Stanley Cups ties in with Bill Russell of the Boston Celtics for the most championships won by a player in a North American sports league.
Interesting.
Yeah, I honestly did not know that. Given how many teams there are now and the level of talent we have and parity in hockey, I think it's impossible to conceive of another player getting 11 or 12 Stanley Cup titles. Do you agree with that?
Impossible, unless the fundamental nature of the game changes or somehow unlimited salary cap or something happens. No way does anyone get that near that again.
Well, just the odds, right? You had a 1 in 6 chance of.
True, very true. Now we got 32 teams. yeah. Salary caps and all. Yeah, dead on. No way.
In his career, Henri scored 358 goals, added 688 assists for 1,046 points in 1,256 games played. Richard holds the Canadiens' record for most regular season games played still. That's pretty cool. Played in 9 NHL All-Star games, was named to the first All-Star team in 1958, won the Bill Masterton Trophy in 1974. Henri Richard is in the Hall of Fame and was named as one of the NHL's top 100 players in 2017. His number 16 has been retired by the Canadiens. So pretty good player. And of course, this 1957 Parkhurst is his rookie card. The card itself is in pretty good condition. The biggest kind of, I think, issue is it's a little bit off-centered, right to left. Corners and edges look pretty nice. And why I picked this card, not only because I think Henri is a kind of a cool player to learn more about, is one of the things you'll notice with a lot of vintage cards is there can be a lot of variation in the card stock. Like you can find a card like this that is like brilliant white, like the brightest white. It's like blinds you looking at it. And then you have versions like this card, if you're watching on YouTube, that have a little bit of that yellowing or kind of an aged look to it. And I really like the aged look. Like, I don't mind the fact that this card seems a little like stained isn't the right. It's like the paper is like
Patina. It's like a patina.
yeah. There's a good. Do you have a preference? Do you like the cards that have more of like the brighter white stock, or do you like cards that feel a little bit older and have that
I
yellowing?
honestly think I don't care. To me, it's the same. Like, doesn't bother me one bit that it's looks aged or if it's all white.
It can be dramatic. Like if you these 50s Parker's cards that have these white backgrounds.
Yeah.
You see in like in the 52 and 53 set.
Yeah.
A lot too. I kind of like it. Last sale of a 1957 Parkhurst Henri Richard PSA 7, 5,411 US in the PWCC Weekly back in April 2021. They don't sell very often. This was the all-time high. You got a current bid, Troy?
$575 US. So
a steal as of right now.
Steal.
Okay, Troy, you got the next one.
I do. All right. I am going with another Parkhurst card. I'm back to Parkhurst. Took a little break. Now I'm back. So this is a 1952 Parkhurst Dickie Moore rookie PSA 8.
You see how white that is, though? The background?
Yeah. Yep.
The difference? It's kind of crazy.
And so this card, obviously, I do my little go through the cards, and this one just immediately shot out to me because what really drew me into it is the picture. Like, this picture is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's got great picture. I love the whole crowd in the background, and I love they got the fencing. If you zoom in, like, there's no plexiglass back in the day. This is like fencing, and even before that, there was chicken wire. Maybe this is chicken wire. I don't know, but that's what the old time NHL arenas had for the whatever the glass. And I actually looked up. They said the first time plexiglass was used was after a brawl where the players got into the stands, and really? So they put plexiglass up so they would be harder to climb. But that was
so the puck must have just died if you shot it up that
well
high.
if it was like a fencing, it would die. But if it was chicken wire, I gotta believe it would like shoot out. My dad made a net with chicken wire instead of netting, and you shoot that thing and that puck would come flying right out.
Okay, I have a question. At the risk of sounding stupid, which is dumb because probably pretty much always sounds stupid, but I know like very early in hockey, like you go to pre-war, like part of the reason why goalies never wore masks is the puck was never really lifted.
It was illegal. Like,
yeah,
they couldn't. I know originally. I don't know.
So when when was the puck like lifted in earnest? Like, do you think in 1952 were they like wrapping it around the boards to clear the zone and where it would have got
I have
caught
no
up
idea.
in chicken wire or something like that? I don't know.
I gotta believe. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Or was it when Bobby Hull curved his stick?
Curved his stick and started rocking it.
Okay.
All right. And again, great picture. I love the crowd. Everything about it. It's just fantastic. Plus, Dickie Moore, I don't think we've talked about. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in an old card segment when we looked at some, but I don't remember talking about him recently. So I like to look at all-time greats on great cards, and I think this falls right into it. So the card is a PSA 8. Looking at the card, looks in really nice shape. Centering is a tad off. You can see like the left border is definitely a little bit bigger, a lot more white than the right border. At the top, you can see some, I don't know. I don't know if this is like where the misalignment of maybe the printing plates or something going on up here. I think we called it registration before. I don't know. That's what registration. That's what I think it's called. Again, it doesn't distract it from me though. Like I see it there, but it wouldn't distract me that much because the overall card just looks great. Edges and corners look absolutely fantastic. They look straight. Corners, maybe a little bit wear on some of them, but again, for being a 1952 card, looks great. Plus, again, the Montreal Canadiens in the full outfit, I love it. It just looks like a really nice picture. And for Dickie Moore, I had to do a little research because I knew nothing about this guy. Josh, did you know his name is Richard Winston Moore?
I would have guessed the Richard part.
Yeah, for Dickie.
Shut up, Richard.
Yeah, shut up, Richard. He's a left winger from Montreal, Quebec. Hall of Famer. Only a 6-time Cup winner. Can't match Henri's 11. 2-time Art Ross winner. 2-time NHL first team All-Star. 1-time NHL second team All-Star.
Don't you love that about this show, though? It's like, here's a guy. It's like, is this a name? Is this a card? And then you're like, oh, I'll learn about Dickie Moore. And then it's like, oh, he won the cup 6 times and the Art Ross twice. Okay.
Yeah. But he didn't play when I was alive, so that's why I don't know.
Yeah.
Named to the list of the top 100 NHL players by NHL.com in 2017. Canadians retired number 12 to honor Dickie Moore. And here we go, Josh. Yvonne Cornway. I watched video to make sure I got that right, and it's probably still wrong. Yeah. He played 14 seasons, with 12 of those seasons being with Montreal, one with Toronto, one with St. Louis. He had 261 goals, 346 assists for 607 points, 719 games played. Here's a fun fact, Josh. Dickie Moore won the 1958 Art Ross Trophy while having a broken wrist and his wrist in a cast for the second half of the season.
How do you do that with the
Don't ask me.
Wrist?
Yeah, I have no clue. He tried to get out, said, it's not fair that because he was in the points lead. So he was, he was in the points lead. And he said, it's not fair to my teammates if you put me out there just to try to get more points and win. And his line mates, I want to say, were probably, I think it was Richard and I can't remember who the other one was. They said, no, you're playing. And he said, okay. And then he just went out and won the Art Ross Trophy.
Wow.
All right, this card's a PSA 8, which has a pop of 22 with only 2 graded higher. There's no PSA 10 copies of this card. Last sale of this card I could find was on June 21st of 2021 via the PWCC Vault for $1,525 US. Current bid $460 US.
I kind of like when rookie cards do not have PSA 10s because I think subconsciously almost it makes you more okay with the PSA 8s and 9s, knowing, well, there's not a 10 anyways. So we tend to get very fixated right on that PSA 10 grade.
Agree.
All right, last vintage card we want to highlight is a 1966 Topps USA Test Bobby Orr rookie PSA 5 with the PWCC A. It's the above average eye appeal rating, putting in the top 30%. Now, any Bobby Orr rookie is special, but when you add in the more rare USA Test version and that PWCC above average eye appeal rating, now you have my attention. At PSA 5, the USA Test Orr rookie has a pop of 15. There's 63 copies graded higher. The 1966 Topps USA Test set was a test. Here you go. Of distributing hockey cards in limited quantities in the United States to presumably test the viability of the U.S. as a market for hockey cards. It's nearly identical to the primary set. There's a couple key differences, though. The wood grain and the TV border, the wood grain border, it's like a television set kind of motif, is a little lighter than the primary set. And the card backs are only printed in English, where in the primary set, you're going to have French as well. So it's probably the easier way to tell the difference between, if you're looking at a raw card, between a USA Test. But kind of cool, right? Just makes it a little bit more rare of an already very, very special car. And Troy, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Bobby Orr was really good at hockey.
I am aware. He's on my Mount Rushmore.
Good. Pretty much considered the GOAT defenseman, one of the greatest overall players of all time as well. Basically, all new, promising, talented, offensive defensemen are compared to him. He's sort of the measuring stick, right, for any young prospect. And I think since everyone knows about Orr and the majority of his accomplishments, what I did is instead of just going over like a bio for the millionth time, I wanted to find some maybe more little-known nuggets or fun facts, maybe we'll call them. So a little section called the Did You Know, Troy? Did you know, Troy, Bobby Orr at 14 years old played for the Oshawa Generals in the Ontario Junior A-League, where he's competed mainly against 19 and 20-year-olds.
I did not know that.
Did you know, Troy, at age 31, Bobby Orr is the youngest player ever to be elected to the Hall of Fame?
I did know that.
On August 26, 1971, Orr signed the first NHL contract with a total value of $1 million or greater. When he signed a 5-year, $1 million deal. Then lastly, Troy, Bobby Orr still holds the NHL record for most assists in a season for a defenseman with 102. Now, in fact, between Bobby Orr and Paul Coffey, They hold the top 9 spots for most assists in a season by a defenseman. I think Brian Leach has the 10th most assists in a season.
That's pretty nuts. So I looked up that $1 million in today's dollars. That's $7.6 million in today's dollars.
Really?
Yep.
Still underpaid. So some cool facts about Bobby Orr. The card itself is in pretty nice shape. The biggest flaw that is, I think, pretty apparent to anyone looking at it is just a white stripe.
I was gonna ask. I couldn't tell
border.
If that was on the card or if that was a background.
I think it's a cut line for where the card. I've looked up a number of other USA test cards, like the Bobby Hall would be another example, and you can see to some degree that border as well. But other than that, though, the card, like the print quality and the surface of the card, the registration looks awesome. It's just, I think it comes down to how distracting you find that stripe.
Yeah.
So last sale, Troy, on a 1966 Topps Bobby Orr USA Test PSA 5 was $9,600 US in May of this year in the PWCC Weekly. And in fact, it was this exact same card.
Ooh, interesting. Spicy.
The all-time high is also the exact same card. That sold for $10,800 in the PWCC Weekly in December 2022. So this card just keeps getting bounced around.
Yeah, no one wants
PWCC Weekly. And in these situations, I always hope it's like I want a collector to get it and then just bury it in their collection.
Yeah.
You got a current bid?
$3,900 US.
Okay, we're going to switch to modern, and the modern version of Bobby Orr, some would say, is Cale Makar. So this is a 2019 Allure Cale Makar Golden Treasures Rookie Auto 101. It's graded by Beckett, BGS 8.5 with a 10 auto grade. Pretty big card here. Makar Rookie Auto 101. 2019 was the first year of Allure, and if you compare it to the new set, you can really see how the set has evolved in just a few short years. So I think that's kind of interesting. Now, we asked Billy Cilio when he talked about the recent Allure release about why Golden Treasures is used for the 101 card in both Allure and O-Pee-Chee Platinum, because I think that's kind of interesting. And I think he basically said at the time that that's sort of their name for 101 card in a chromium set. And so both Allure and O-Pee-Chee Platinum fall within that, but they don't use it for stature, which is kind of weird, right? Just thought of that on the fly.
But is it stature? Aren't those purples the 101s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then given this card's a 101, I think the BGS 8.5 grade shouldn't be too much of a concern. Actually, 3 of the subgrades are 9.5, so corners, edges, centering, and it's the 7.5 subgrade on surface that brings the overall grade down. And I think how it works is that the total grade can only be one grade higher than the lowest subgrade. So that's why it's
I say that with a lot of confidence of a person that knows nothing about grading. But I think I've heard that. You've probably told me that.
I actually zoomed in on this card too. It's impossible to tell sometimes in photos, but it's like, but at like a 7.5 surface grade, it's like, well, is there like a big like divot in the card or something?
Chip.
I can't really find anything, and I'm not like arguing at the grade. There might be something, but I think the point is there's nothing that is like super distracting about the card that would be a focal point that you just couldn't get out of your mind. So I wouldn't be worried about the grade at all on this card. And of course it's got the 10 grade for the auto. It is like all Allure cards, though, it is a sticker auto, so you got to be mindful of that. And then, of course, Makar's off to another good start this season. 3 goals, 8 assists for 11 points in 10 games played. For his career now, Troy, he's got 68 goals, 189 assists for 257 points in 248 games played. Not a mass show, but I'm pretty confident that that's more than a point per game.
No. So
it puts him, Troy, at 1.036 point per game for his career. So for any player that has more than 250 points, Makar currently sits third all time behind number 2, Paul Coffey at 1.087. And then number 1, Bobby Orr at 1.393. So Bobby Orr's got like a huge lead in point per game average amongst defensemen. But does it surprise you that Makar's Now he's got to keep that pace. He's not
Yeah.
retired, but that as of right now, he's third all time.
No, I didn't know that. He was third. I mean, I thought Bork would be up there, but guess not.
And then Troy. So I'm gonna quickly make a reference to who's hot from Monday's show, and your guy Quinn Hughes.
Oh yeah,
He's currently 7th all time in points per
Yeah.
game at .885. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. A lot of Quinn Hughes steam right now. I think
he's getting a lot of steam, a lot of love right now for Quinn. Just social media and everything. A lot of love.
Is the Troy pump and dump on Quinn Hughes? Well, I don't think you own a Quinn Hughes card, so
I do. I think I have a Young Guns, like a raw one.
Normally, when like people pump it up, it's more than having like a raw Young Guns card. Thank you for your honesty. So, given Makar, Troy is, I would say, is firmly on his way to legendary status, and Allure is an up and coming set. I mean, I really think that Karn Ray was onto something when you talked about, like, we were talking about like the Bedard chase and trying to figure out, well, what's going to be the O-Pee-Chee Platinum of 2015, because O-Pee-Chee Platinum was not as highly regarded then. And I agree with Karn that Allure could be that candidate. So I think, given the player, given the brand, it's a 101. It's got the magical golden treasures name. Really interesting card. Hasn't sold publicly before, so we'll have to see where it goes. You got a current bid?
$270 US.
I can't imagine that will sell for 270. If it does, then somebody got the steal of a lifetime. Okay, you got the next one.
I do. Troy gets to use artistic license right now because I went with a 1980 O-Pee-Chee Mike Liut rookie PSA 9. Yes, it's 1980. I know. But again, I'm using my artistic license and putting this in the modern section because I love this card so much. I wanted to talk about it. I'm going to bid on it. So everyone else is going to bid on it and probably drive the price up. But if it's like last week's PWCC Weekly, where I had 3 bookmark cards I was going for, and they got distracted with my kids doing something at home, probably misbehaving. And before I realized it, they were done. They were sold, and I was so mad at myself.
Kids ruin everything.
I know. So I gotta make sure I'm gonna try to get this card, but we'll see. Probably go for way more than I want to pay for it. But I just gotta talk about it. And again, I don't think we've ever talked about Mike Liut on our show. And if you look at this card, if you're watching on YouTube, the picture on this card is just, it's one of those pictures that's always special because this is to Troy what a goalie should look like. Brown pads, waffle blocker, sweet mask, got the old Northland stick. And just because I'm an insufferable Minnesotan, I actually knew Northland was founded in Hastings, Minnesota, Josh, right next door to where we're at in Farmington. Sticks were produced in Hastings and St. Paul, Minnesota. I just wanted to throw that in there. But again, this is what a goalie looked like when I was a kid. So that's why I absolutely love this card.
If you got hit in the face,
oh yeah,
that mask, that would hurt like really, really, really bad, right?
Yes.
Like I would cry, probably.
Yep, it would hurt.
Yeah.
And you like these, I mean, they obviously protected you, but I think they sat really close to your face, which you're still gonna, if you get hit hard enough, you're gonna break a nose, break a cheekbone. I mean, they offered some protection, but they weren't the greatest, but they were better than what they had when they had nothing on, I guess. So this card's a PSA 9. If you zoom in, it looks in great shape. And the color, holy cow. I mean, great photo. The color looks really, really nice. It has, I don't know when they stopped doing the wire cutting or whatever. It's still got some of that O-Pee-Chee rough cut.
If you they're still doing it in 1980.
Okay.
Those leg pads look like they weigh 3,000.
They do. They were so heavy. Like I've told my son today, both your pads still way less than one of these pads because these things would get wet, they'd get heavy, sweat. They're just horrible. So again, and if you zoom in, this is a treat for the YouTube viewers. Like, it's so awesome. You can see his eyes through his mask, just staring at whatever, the play, the puck. I just love this card, and I'm kind of mad I've never seen it really or looked at it before until this. And what will always crack me up on this picture is there's a player on the ice in front of him with basically his butt showing on the camera. It's like, I just got to know the thought process when they saw this. They like have this great picture of Mike Liut, and they're like, all right, but we got this guy. He's at the bottom left. He's laying on the ice. His rear end sticking up. Let's just go with it.
Is that an Oiler or is that like a Capital?
I thought it was a Capital or a Canadian. I don't know how the Sox red, white, red, I think. So I didn't know, but
do we need to do a Gong Show investigation and figure out whose butt is on the Mike Liut?
No, we got to go. We're going to go. Yeah, that would be fantastic if we figure out who the player is. But again, just that thought process that like a great picture. Let's just run it, even though the guy's rear end's sticking up. But I mean, this picture is it's so great. And I love the St. Louis Blues jersey. It looks awesome. Awesome colors. Just hits all the nostalgia feels. And Josh, I did a little reading into Mike Liut, and there's some things I didn't even know about him. Goalie from Weston, Ontario. Played 13 seasons in the NHL with St. Louis, Hartford, and Washington. He was a one-time Lester B. Pearson Award winner, which is now the Ted Lindsay Award. One-time NHL first-team All-Star, one-time NHL second-team All-Star. Led the league in goals against average with a 2.53 during the 1989-90 season. Led the NHL in shutouts during the 1986-87 and 1989-90 seasons. Had the most wins, shutouts, games played, and minutes played by a goalie in the 1980s. I did not know that. Wow. That was very cool. Very interesting. For his career, Liut had 293 wins, 271 losses, 74 ties, and 25 shutouts in 662 games played. After his NHL career, Liut got his law degree and is now managing director for hockey talent and properties at global sports management firm Octagon. So pretty big player now in the sports management game. But again, back to the card. It's PSA 9, has a pop of 50 with only 13 graded higher. Last sale I could find on this card for a PSA 9 grade was on September 17th of this year via eBay, verified in Terapeak for $126.37 US. Current bids at $52 US. I'm guessing this set's an all-time high. That's what my guess.
Yep. It's a cool card.
Yeah,
I really like the photo.
I love it. Love this pick card.
You know what somebody said? I apologize if the person's listening. Might have been Jacob Dahl on the PWCC Weekly show I do with Jeremy Lee, that we were looking at the 1971 O-Pee-Chee Ken Dryden.
Yeah.
And he said that that's the first goalie card that has a goalie wearing his mask.
I think I've heard that, but it would make sense because I know Dryden was one of the first guys to wear one.
One more card to feature, and this one's really cool. And I was very excited to learn about this because I haven't seen this situation before. But it's a 2001 Upper Deck Pavel Datsyuk Young Guns PSA 9. It's a pop 18, 12 copies graded higher. So it's 12 PSA 10s. Now, Troy, this specific card, so you'll notice if you're watching on YouTube, it says opponent in background. So it's like, well, what does that mean?
That's weird.
Is it an error? It's not. There's actually two versions of his Young Guns for 2001. There's a retail version and a hobby version. So what we're looking at here is the hobby version of Datsyuk's Young Guns. They both have the same card number, which is kind of interesting, 422. So the hobby version of the card has a Calgary DeFlames defender in the background. The retail version, there's a different image of Datsyuk that we're skating along purple board. So he's the only player. I should have actually shown this. I'm dumb. For people that are watching on YouTube. And so on the PSA slabs, the retail version will typically say purple board and background on the slab, which I think is kind of dumb. It's like, why does it say opponent in background or purple board in background? Why not just say hobby version and retail version? If you go to there's the interesting, huh? Two different versions.
I want that now going forward. I want the retail Young Gun to have a different picture.
Yeah.
On everyone. I know it'd be a pain, but I want that. I want that now.
Yeah, I want to think about that because my initial reaction is I kind of like that idea too. So I was saying it if you look on the PSA Pop Report online, it says hobby or retail, but I don't know why on the slabs that they. Yeah. I just think it's confusing the way that they have it labeled. So of the retail version, there's 17 PSA 9s. So there's 18 PSA 9s in the hobby version, 17 PSA 9s in the retail version, but there's 34 PSA 10s retail. So if you want to, so the 12 PSA 10s for hobby, it's much more exclusive. So I guess all-in hobby is a little bit more rare.
Mhm.
We haven't talked about Pavel Datsyuk much on our show to this point, so I just want to do a quick overview of his hockey resume. Pavel Datsyuk's hockey LinkedIn. Datsyuk played 14 NHL seasons with the Detroit Red Wings, as well as parts of 6 seasons in the KHL. He scored 314 goals, added 604 assists for 918 points in 953 career NHL games, won 2 Stanley Cups with the Red Wings in 2002 and 2008, 4-time Lady Byng Memorial Trophy winner in 2006, 7, 8, and 9, 3-time Selke Trophy winner 8, 9, 2008, 2009, 2010, and was named to was one of the top NHL 100 NHL players of all time in 2017. Very much known as not only a fantastic defensive forward, but also a great offensive forward. So total package, Pavel Datsyuk. Datsyuk also had a very esteemed international career, Troy, winning a World Championship gold medal, an Olympic gold medal for Russia. So yes, Troy, making him a member of the Triple Gold Club. Because, of course, 2 gold medals and a silver Stanley Cup makes triple gold somehow.
I love it.
Last sale of a 2001 Pavel Datsyuk Young Guns Hobby version PSA 9. Last sold in January 2021 for $400 US. All-time high was $1,100 US in April of. So you had the what card were you looking at with the 3,300? The Zdeno Chara, right?
Yeah.
Here's another example with 400 in January and 1,100 in April. You got a current bid?
$48 US.
I might be bidding. Nobody else bid. Forget. What's the Men in Black kind of wand thing?
Oh, the mind
Everybody
eraser
forget this
thing.
whole Pavel Datsyuk thing. Yeah, I think this card's pretty cool. So now that it's soaked in for a few minutes, you still think that having a separate retail?
Yes. I love it. Because here's my thing. I've always thought retail. I get it. Hobby's going to be where you get the cool stuff, but I always thought retail should have some more cool stuff, and maybe just having a different picture on the Young Guns is one of those things. Or else, I've always thought I just want a retail SKU that has autographs in it, like guaranteed autos. And I don't know how you could do it with the pricing. I don't think you want a retail box for $200, but I always thought there's just something else you could do with retail.
Okay, we don't have any personal pickups because we're saving our money for the show. This is 100% on the fly. But
just buy something during the show.
No, I have an idea for a contest between you and me.
All right.
Want to hear it? We're each gonna buy a single for no more than $100, and then we're gonna let people vote who had the better buy.
Does that have to be raw graded? Anything?
Okay. You up for that? Be a little.
Does it have to be hockey?
Yes. It's a hockey podcast.
I want to challenge myself to buy more non-hockey. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, and honestly, you need to start buying some singles because you're all like smitten.
No, I got lots of singles. Look at my Bernie Nichols. I got my Koivu.
Oh, you're right.
Got my Zuccarello was a gift from a listener.
Yeah, you and me we're gonna do the Expo $100 challenge, right? And we're gonna see who has the best card. And if anyone else wants to play along, you can send us your best find for $100 US or less.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, that's our show. I made it. I think I'm alive. Hopefully I did okay. I'm feeling delirious right now. It's kind of funny. If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, want to chat with us every day on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our out of $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, and there's a Become a Patron link. There is a link in the show description for whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, or if you're watching us on YouTube, there's a link in the description there. If you want, just go to patreon.com, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. Or if you're perusing our Instagram or TikTok. There's a link in our link tree there. We're on social media. Yeah, we're social. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Troy. The Hockey Cards Gong Show is a podcast, is a production of Dollarbox Ventures LLC. Cannot wait for tomorrow. Cannot wait for this weekend. And really looking forward to sharing our experiences with you all on Monday. Have an awesome rest of the week. And hopefully we'll see a lot of you at the Fall Expo.